Charlie, you bring up BYD, so I'll jump to a question from Stephen Spencer, who writes in from New York, New York. He's curious why Mr. Munger prefers an investment in BYD to Tesla.
Well, that's easy. Tesla last year reduced its prices in China twice. BYD increased its prices. We're direct competitors. We're so much ahead of BYD. I mean, BYD is so much ahead of Tesla in China. It's like it's almost ridiculous. And if you look at BYD, which most people have never heard of, if you count all the manufacturing space they have in China to make cars, it would amount to a big percentage of all the land in Manhattan Island. And nobody ever heard of them a few years ago.
All right, let me jump to another question. This one comes from Michael Aseo, who says, this is in regards to some movement at Berkshire, some sales of Berkshire's stakeholdings. Did the sale of some BYD and Taiwan Semi shares have anything to do with the relations between the United States and China, or was it for purely economic reasons?
Well, BYD is selling about 50 times earnings. That is a very high price. On the other hand, they're likely to increase their auto sales by another 50% this year. So we sold part of ours, by the way, years ago. Not years, but about a year ago at a much higher price than it's selling for now. And no, we're not a mini Berkshire. We're not going to have a big correlation between us and what Berkshire does. And you could understand why some people would sell Berkshire's BYD stock at 50 times earnings. At the current price of BYD stock, little BYD is worth more than the entire Mercedes Corporation. Market capitalization. So it's not a cheap stock. On the other hand, it's a very remarkable company. And by the way, I want to tell people the great contribution I made to the success of BYD. We got into it through Li Lu, and it was a little company that knocked off the Japanese cell phones. And the chairman, who's kind of a genius, said, I want to buy a bankrupt little crappy auto plant and go into the auto business from dead scratch when he's making cell phones, little tiny nothing company. And both Li Lu and I tried to talk him out of it. We said, please don't do this dumb thing. If you get your head handed to you going into the auto business, little BYD and so forth. Well, last year they made more than $2 billion in the auto business from that standing start at zero. It's unheard of. But Li Lu and I deserve all the credit because we tried to get him, we tried to talk about him doing what worked so well, which shows that there's some accident in life.